How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the corner. I am the DM as always, and today we have one for Ashes of Creation. Now, I've made a video or two about Ashes of Creation in the past. I think the game has a lot of potential from as an outsider's perspective looking in. Um, but this recent controversy, which I'm sure some of you have already denoted, and now the rest of you will know as well, has it has piqued my interest. And the reason why it has piqued my interest is because there are some systems in place that I do not agree with on a fundamental level. I think it is antithetical to an MMO's success. And they are systems that I have personally had experience with in other MMOs and in older MMOs. So I want to talk about it and share my thoughts and share my experiences about them and why I think that if Ashes of Creation continues with this system, it will be a game that is dead on arrival for casual players.
Hello gamers, it's nice. I hope all of you MMO enjoyers are having a nice day. Today, we have quite the debate and news to discuss involving MMO Ashes of Creation, which is still in its Alpha 2 phase, and Asmongold. Apologies in advance as I've been very sick this past week and lost my voice, so I might sound a little different and audio may not be as good. But anyways, I was originally uploading this video titled Ashes of Creation is not a gank box. This video was to highlight the reality of how penalizing corruption and non-consensual PvP is, despite the pre-alpha 2 notion that the game was going to be a gank box in which you'd constantly be killed and or griefed via open world PvP. But the timing of this video could not have been worse, and thus here I am re-recording it. Why, may you ask? Well, Asmongold finally logged into Ashes of Creation's Alpha 2 test here on the game's third weekend, and well, it went something like this.
I'm in. Holy shit. Oh my god. Yo, what's up, boys? Wait. This guy's how does this guy attack me? Wait, I'm getting killed. Oh my god. I survived. Okay. So what do I even need to do here? It's gonna be too bright? It looks okay to me.
One shot, by the way.
Oh, somebody killed me. Oh, shit.
From full health.
Wait, I died.
So, this is the first thing I want to talk about is XP debt. So I think the only other games that have ever done any large MMOs that have ever done XP or a system where either you lose XP on death or there's some kind of penalty for simply dying, right? Like that has to do with your experience. Was maybe EverQuest and World of Warcraft. And I think those are the only two big MMOs that have done this. A lot of like PvP only MMOs do this, which those MMOs have died out very quickly because of the always PvP nature of them. But XP debt, especially when it is in a manner that is entirely out of your control, such as this, where someone, where while he doesn't have PvP toggled, someone else just decides to come over and kill him from full HP in one hit. It's going to make a lot of casual players, which is the primary bulk of any MMO's player base. It will make a lot of casual players simply quit. And there's really no way around that. It doesn't matter if it's in PvE or PvP. If they die, especially when they're just starting out, and they see a message saying you've lost this much XP or you are now this much XP in debt, and you have to gain that much XP before you can actually start gaining XP. A lot of players will simply quit. I know this because sorry. I know this because this is the primary reason why I don't play a lot of PvP only games.
Oh shit, I lost experience too.
It's why I don't play Albion Online.
Okay, well,
that and some other reasons, which we'll get to.
all right. All right. I think this is gonna have to be a game that I'm gonna have to play off stream. I can't do this. Like, yeah, sorry. Like, it's unplayable. It is. It's unplayable. As funny as it is, I can't do anything. I mean, yeah, and I know, like, what will happen is that if I level up, there's just gonna be people that are a higher level that are gonna do the same thing, right? Because it's just... Yeah. Okay. Okay. I'm dead again. All right. So, and then I got experience and I lost experience. Okay. All right. Like, just like spammed and like attacked and everything. So I just like, cause it's just, oh god.
By the way, just so you all know, these messages are messages from admins of the game, from people like Steven, who legitimately have the power to just permanently ban your entire account. So if you ignore these, right, yeah, you deserve to get banned. Now, right here it says anyone griefing the bald one, obviously referring to Asmongold, I will personally ban Hammer. He's trying to learn the game, leave the dude alone. Now, see, here's the thing, right? Killing someone a few times, right, is one thing. Especially in a game like Ashes of Creation, which is sort of touted as like a always PvP kind of game, or an open PvP kind of game. Killing someone a few times, you know, is one thing. Targeting them repeatedly over and over and over for absolutely no actual gain within the game, that is something else entirely. That is something that is known as griefing. In older games, like Ashen Empires, used to be known as Dransik. There was a character, there was a player on that called Princess Kiyu. I was farming some Minotaurs above one of the starting towns. She was nearly max level. I was like level 30, around 30, 40. She was about 60 levels above me. She was about like 109 or something like that, right? There was absolutely no chance in hell that I would be able to actually defeat this character because of the enormous level difference. She could literally one-shot me at every single opportunity whenever I left the safe zone, right? And it got to a point where I literally couldn't leave the safe zones because the moment I did, she would just kill me, right? Again and again and again. It got to a point where I had to go into different guild chats that my mom was a part of, and different types of chats within the game itself, requesting someone to come and act essentially as my bodyguard against this person, because she wouldn't stop griefing me. Now, I was on a PvP server, right? But again, it gets to a point where when you are doing it for actually no personal gain, which this person clearly was, because I didn't have anything that they could have possibly used or wanted. It gets to a point where it's considered griefing. Now, this isn't the only way you can grief someone. If you the way you grief someone is by acting in such a manner as to intentionally ruin someone else's game experience for no personal gain. That is effectively what griefing is, right? And this person was eventually mass reported to the GMs by myself and others. And when the GMs looked at everything and looked at the logs and looked at the combat logs for her and for myself, and they looked at all of the facts, they determined that this person was indeed griefing, and they got a permanent ban from the game. I finally got that hair. And so when you are caught griefing someone, it's best to sort of abide by what the GMs say. And when they sit here and say that if you continue to do this, I will personally ban you, you should take that as a serious, legitimate threat to your account. And also keep in mind that in Ashes of Creation, the alpha tests, this is not a free alpha test. You have to pay money in order to get into this alpha. So yeah, I know a little bit about griefing and what is considered griefing, and what they are doing to Asmongold is griefing. They are killing him repeatedly over and over and over, immediately in the starting zone, and we'll get to that in a moment. And that is griefing because they gain nothing from it.
Oh man.
They're doing nothing but ruining his experience.
Turn PvP off? I can't. It gets old really fast, and there's also like people following me around, and then it's gonna create a lot of drama when I'm like, when other people get banned for me, like for attacking me, and they're gonna be like, oh, well, that's not fair, it's preferential treatment, and it's just gonna create a lot of like tension and
people
drama.
did get banned.
And I just kind of don't want to.
Quite a number of people who got banned.
Okay, it's just gonna. I just don't want to deal with it, right?
Now, this has since bred a lot of discussion and debate around the Ashes of Creation community and perhaps the broader MMO community. I happened to be online when all this drama, if you will, was occurring. And from the system messages posted by Steven, I just knew what was going on. People were flooding to Asmongold's location. Zone chat was filled with anger and debate as people argued about whether or not it was okay for them to grief Asmongold as he loaded into the starter zone. Was it okay to just kill him as soon as he loaded?
Griefing players is antithetical to an MMO's survivability. Just the end of story. If you do nothing but grief new players, the new players will quit, and then there will be no new players, and the only players that join are the absolute hardcore players that want this kind of activity, and that is not enough to sustain an MMO. You can see this with games like Mortal Online, which was a game that was always PvP, and it died very quickly. Lineage 2, I believe, is also similar in its open PvP, and it is also a game that, while still technically alive, it's not exactly doing great.
Into the game. For those of you not aware, Ashes of Creation does have open world PvP, and that's what this video was originally going to focus on. There is a somewhat intricate corruption system that balances this capability of non-consensual PvP by punishing the person doing the killing, assuming the other player did not flag up / attack back or consent to this, right? I won't go too much into detail with this as I've done so in too many videos, but Intrepid Studios, developer of this MMO, has made a lot of progress in balancing this corruption system to the point it is extremely detrimental for you to go corrupted, and it is very seldom seen. In fact, just days ago, we received a patch updating the corruption system to be even more harsh and get rid of some of those workarounds that players were using. Now,
so I want to talk about this, right? Because they're going through a lot of effort to try and discourage people from attacking people who are not flagged for PvP, when realistically it would just be a lot simpler for them to just not allow it, and it would eliminate a lot of the capabilities of someone to grief another player. But let's look here. So when you are corrupted, right? Because you don't immediately get corrupted. Guards will attack you on sight, and supposedly players will hunt you down. Now, I don't know, because he doesn't go into it in this video. I don't know if the players will hunt you. I don't know if those players actually get rewarded for killing someone who is corrupted. If they do, the reward needs to be significantly greater than whatever it is, because whatever it is not good enough, right? Slay monsters or die to reduce your corruption. This shouldn't be, if they want to keep this, it shouldn't be or die to reduce your corruption. It should be, you have to go out and you have to actually do PvE. And that's the only way to reduce your corruption. It shouldn't be or die, because or die means you can just remove everything you have, go and just let yourself be killed over and 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 over again by a bunch of mobs, and you lose absolutely nothing for it except maybe some XP. And they probably don't care at that point, right? But while you are corrupted, you deal 35% less damage to non-combatant players. That doesn't matter, because if you are a high enough level, you will still one-shot them. This needs to be something like 60% reduced damage to anyone who's non-combatant, right? This needs to be extremely punishing. Like, because 35% is just not enough. This one, where you have 35% reduced mitigation, health, and mana, again, still not enough. It needs to be at least 50% if they want it to actually be considered punishing. Because 35%, once you get to a certain point, it just doesn't matter, right? Move 10% slower literally does not matter. Moving 10% slower is the equivalent to a slap on the wrist, right? And this is apparently, as he'll say in a moment, the 10% slower is something that's only recently been added. 10% is absolutely nothing. This needs to be at least, honestly, at least 25%. An 8% XP upon death does not matter, because all they have to do is, again, just go and die a whole bunch to reduce their corruption, and then go into a party with some homies and just have them grind XP for you, and then your XP debt just doesn't matter, right? And the dropping more resources upon death doesn't matter, because again, they could just go and drop everything off at a fucking storage or whatever, and then go and let them die. And same with dropping 2 to 3 equipped items randomly upon death. Doesn't matter, because again, they could just go and store their items and let themselves die that way. Because unless people who are healing these corrupted players likewise get the same amount of corruption instantly, these things, the things that you get upon death, just do not matter.
Not only do you drop up to 3 pieces of gear, incur what seems to be increased XP debt, have reduced combat efficacy, but now you also have a movement speed reduction, and you have this new Blight debuff. Here's Steven explaining the Blight debuff on Pirate Software stream recently.
Blight is essentially a cumulative PK score that gets kept track of as a stat on your character. And even if you have no corruption, but you killed 30 people over the last 5 days and you worked off that corruption, your 31st kill will accrue much faster corruption, and so will your 32nd and 33rd, regardless of your corruption states. So that is intended to help kind of curtail the amount of corruption that's happening. Now, there will be a religious-based quest that through the investment of resources and time, players can reduce that cumulative score to bring themselves back down.
So
that shouldn't be a thing, by the way. Being able to just get rid of your corruption like that just should not be a thing. It incentivizes people to continue to grief, because they can grief a whole shit ton and then just have their guild, their like super high level guild or whatever, just invest a whole bunch of resources for them, reduce their blight or whatever back down to 0, and then they could just go out and grief a whole bunch more with minimal consequences. If you grief players, you should not be able to then get rid of those consequences. You should just have those consequences, And all that blight does is just make it so that your corruption stacks faster if you continue to grief. So it's not like it's a permanent debuff to everything your character does. It's just a permanent debuff that makes it so that if you continue to grief and harass players, things get worse for you a lot faster. So it should not be something that can be removed in any way, shape, or form.
Mentioned, there was a lot of debate and semantics as a result of the Asmongold drama. Was Steven showing preferential treatment? Is this not a PvP focused MMO and thus people should be allowed to kill Asmongold if they want to? There was a lot of discussion on this, and GMs even disabled PvP on our server as a result of the Asmon killings, though it was too late and he had already given up on attempting to have a normal experience. I personally believe there is a difference between PvP and griefing. There is a difference between PvP and stream sniping. There is a difference between PvP and harassment. Steven went as far as to even ban some of the individuals for the repeated attacks on Asmon
And they
during this
deserve their
time.
ban.
Yeah.
So I have said many
100%.
times in the past that our stance on griefing will always be it's an actionable offense. And to be fair, the players that I banned yesterday are players who I gave 3 separate warnings to stop griefing this brand new logged in player. That isn't preferential treatment. I don't care if it was Asmongold or Joe Schmo off the side of the street. If it's a new player trying to learn the game, you going and harassing and killing that person for no political motivation, for no opportunity cost, for no scarcity of resources, all the reasons why PvP should exist, you are doing it for opposite of that. You are doing it to harass a person off of the server. By all means, go find a different community. That is not our intent, and you are exploiting our systems.
Good. Hell yeah. No, I 100% agree with that. That's rad as hell, man.
Our server is already home to a couple of streamers, and people express dissatisfaction with another streamer in Asmongold arriving as well. However, this is something Asmon is used to. He loads into a game and there's players swarming all around him, wanting to be seen on screen, wanting some sort of acknowledgement from Asmongold the Bald. The difference with this MMO is that PvP is essentially always on. No matter what side you are on in this debate, I think it's fair to say that Asmongold has a lot of influence, and the targeted griefing of Asmongold caused a huge loss of potentially good marketing for the game. An AOC video by Asmongold gets much more views than any video a dedicated AOC content creator like myself, Narc, or others, or even the official AOC YouTube channel itself will get. I agree with Asmongold in that he should not get preferential treatment, but I also agree he deserves to have a normal experience and see this MMO for himself.
Now, my stance, honestly speaking, is no one should get preferential treatment. However, if, again, it's like I said before, if you are attacking someone and you are killing them repeatedly for no personal gain, for not gaining anything to your character or for your guild or whatever, that is nothing short of just straight up griefing. Full stop.
One negative video by Asmongold portraying the game as an insufferable gank box is enough to cost Intrepid a lot of money and potential revenue, whilst also
Yes.
diminishing its reputation. And
So, here's the thing. So the reason why games don't have open world PvP like this on all of their servers is exactly because of this reason. It allows players who want to be griefers, because they exist, they're everywhere. It allows these players and enables these players to do it in such a way that is effectively rewarded, that the system effectively rewards them for it. Even with the corruption system that they have, it's simply not penalizing enough to dissuade players from doing it. An 8% additional XP penalty on death does nothing, because they could just have homies go and power level them, right? Dropping items on death does nothing, because they can either just stash items away or just have homies load up a different account with a whole bunch of items, right? Like these kind of things just don't matter in the end. They really don't. And the reduced damage to non-combatant players, the reduced health, mana, and mitigation, none of this matters because it's only 35%, and 35% seems like a lot until you try and go and kill one of those players, and then they just don't die. And then you realize that 35% does absolutely nothing.
Even if you don't care about that, if you enjoy this game and want to see it succeed in such a stale MMO genre, then surely you must realize that griefing Asmongold on stream will inevitably just cause the population of this Alpha 2 test to slowly drop and or fail to bring in less viewers.
And it's not just Asmongold. Doing this to any streamer with a large following will have this same effect. Doing it even to people who are not streamers will have this same effect, because they will talk about it to their friends, they will post about it on the forums, they will potentially even make a YouTube video about it, like I'm doing, like Asmongold's doing, like Nice Gaming here is doing. By the way, go subscribe to him, he does really good videos. Doing this kind of thing will kill the game, because it will tell new players that when they enter this game, that they have the chance of just having the worst, horrible, most unpleasant time imaginable. And all of this is only compounded by the fact that the starting zone doesn't have a non-PvP function to it. Now, supposedly, the reason why is because it was not ready. However, that is not an excuse. It's not. There is no reason why it should not be a no PvP flagged zone. This should have been one of the very first things that they made sure was tested and implemented in the starting zone before the alpha ever went live. Because the starting zone is the first impressions for a new player. And first impressions for a new player are exceedingly critical, not just to a video game, but especially to MMOs. An MMO lives and dies based off of the new player experience.
And it would have if you did not provide such negative publicity. And even if you don't care about that, if you enjoyed this game and want to see it succeed in such a stale MMO genre, then you must realize that griefing Asmon on stream will inevitably just cause the population of this Alpha 2 test to slowly drop and or fail, while it brings in less viewers than it would have had without the negative publicity. What Asmongold experienced is a one-off and different from the experience that you or I had. However, I want to keep this as fair and as balanced of an outlook as I can. How much of this is on the development team, I'm sure you're asking. On one hand, they are in an early alpha phase focused on testing networking and performance with limited systems and content available. On the other hand, the new player experience is very important for first impressions. We recently saw this with Soda Poppin's Rage Quit, and I know for a fact that players were griefing Lobies at the starting area during the NDA pre-Alpha 2 testing. So why has the PvP suppression zone still not been implemented to at least the Lionhold area or even the starter room? This is hopefully actually coming soon, but should have been implemented as the larger public starts to get their first look at Vera through the lens of the Asmongolds of the world. Either way, I just wanted to stress that the developers over at Intrepid Studios have done a good job to ensure this game is not a gank box by making corruption extremely penalizing. So I hope that the Asmongold outlier isn't taken as the evidence that the game is indeed a gank box. And for those of you that didn't know, Steven was actually trying to teleport Asmongold away from the area, but their system was just kind of bugging out. I've watched feedback from other content creators on Ashes of Creation, even the feedback of some large creators who claimed you wouldn't like Ashes of Creation and that it will be a gank box. But they did not experience anything of the sort. I'd like you all to leave your comments below and let me know your take on all this. If you enjoyed the video, please click the like button as it helps others to find it. If you're new, please consider subscribing for more Ashes of Creation content. And if you're a tank enjoyer, make sure you click the video on screen. Thank you so much for watching. It's been nice.
So yeah. Um so the entire reason why other MMOs don't have this is because it alienates the casual player base. Um Casual players, a lot of them don't have hours and hours and hours to grind away at a game. Um and even the ones that do, they don't want to feel like their time is wasted or devalued by the actions of another player, right? Especially for casual players. They want to feel like the time they invest into a game is meaningful, that what they are doing and how they are doing it has a meaning to their character. And having things like XP debt, having things like non consensual PvP, these are things that are antithetical to a casual player base. These are the things that are antithetical to having a super massive MMO. Um, can Ashes of Creation make a niche for itself with these systems in place? Yes. Ashes of Creation can still become a successful MMO with these systems in place. However, it will do so at the expense of the casual player base by and large. There are some people who are a part of that casual player base that will look past these things if the game is good enough and will still play the game if it's fun enough, right? Especially if it's with some friends. However, if it is a solo player who is picking up this game for the first time, doesn't really have any friends that are playing the game, and just wants to give it a shot because they think that it looks really cool, right? And they get in, and the first thing that happens in the very starting area is they start to get attacked and killed, and they haven't even done anything, right? All they've done is like move around a little bit. They're going to be extremely disincentivized to continue trying to play the game, especially if they've paid money for it, right? If they've paid money for it, they're going to look at this experience, and they're going to the takeaway that they're going to have is that this game is a bad game because it allows players to be killed right out of the starting zone by people who are significantly higher level than them that can just one shot them. And when they get one shot, they then accrue XP penalties where they are penalized for being killed by another player in a non consensual fashion in such a way that they had no chance of fighting back. It is as much as he talks about the corruption system being penalizing for the people doing the non-consensual PvP, it's even more penalizing for the people who are not participating in that PvP because they are being penalized for just being killed. They are being penalized for another player's actions in a way that harms their overall experience of the game. This is not a good system. If you get killed in a non-consensual fashion, you should not accrue a XP penalty if they are this adamant about having an XP penalty. It just shouldn't happen. Additionally, anyone healing or trying to protect the person participating in this non-consensual PvP likewise needs to suffer the same, if not more severe penalties than that person for aiding them. Because if they don't, that means that someone who is participating in this can then be healed by another player also not consenting to PvP and have absolutely no penalties for it. This is a bad system. I don't know if this is how it works, but if it is, it needs to be changed. I hope that maybe Nice Gaming or another AOC content creator sees this video. If you do, legitimately, I would love to talk to you, even if it's off camera over just like a private Discord call or whatever, over some emails or whatever. I would love to talk to you about this because I am not in a financial position where I can try out Ashes of Creation. I would love to, but I can't right now. So I don't have very in-depth knowledge about how all of these systems work and about all the intricacies of how this system works. Overall, I am not necessarily against always PvP systems. I'm not against them having a system to penalize non-consensual PvP. But I'm going to be honest, as someone who grew up where griefing was a method of gaming, right? Like it was a very big reason why people gamed. These penalties are not severe enough. They're not. You might think they are, but they are not. If Steven and the AOC team wants to keep this kind of gameplay, but wants to truly penalize people for doing it, 35% is not enough. Having them have the ability to drop items on death is not enough. If they want to do this, they need to be made to where they cannot store items. That any items that they have on them are flagged as well as corrupted and cannot be stored and have a potential to be lost so long as the player is corrupted. But I've already dragged this video out to 36 minutes, and Nice Gaming's video was not even 12 minutes. So I'm going to end it off here. Again, if any AOC creator wants to talk to me about this, again, it can be in private. I don't care. I want to learn more about this system. I want to learn how exactly this works to have a better understanding of it. Feel free to reach out to me. But yeah, this is not a good system. And it's very antithetical to having a casual player base. So yeah, if you liked the video, hit like, hit subscribe. Thank you all for coming to my corner. I've been the Demon as always. If you didn't like this video, hit dislike, leave a comment, let me know why, and I'll see you all next time.